Right, guys, welcome to the live stream between the Western Force and the Highlanders today. The players are going to make their way to the field in just a short bit. So, yeah, let's quickly go through the team lineups for today's game. For the Western Force in the back line, we've got Rob Carney, Richard Kahui, Carl Godwin, Henry Taufua, Jordan Olivafella, Jake McIntyre and Thomas Kubeli. Now, a formidable backline for this Western Force today. Dinye Joseph says, go Highlanders. So we've got a Highlander fan in the mix already, which I do believe that this Highlander side will be too strong for this Western Force. They are playing in Perth, though, so it could be quite interesting to see who walks away with the game. The backline for the Highlanders, Sam Gilbert, Theo Tompkinson, Michael Collins, Scott Gregory, Jonah Nareki, Mitch Hunt, Aaron Smith. So a very competitive backline for both teams in this game. Then quickly going through the forwards of this Western Force team, Tim Anstey, Kane Koteka, Fergus Lee Warner, Tamani, Jeremy Fruss, Santiago Medrano, Feletti, Kaituu, and Tom Robinson. Another good pack of forwards from this Western Force side as well. Then for the Highlanders, Hugh Renton, Billy Harmon, Shannon Frizzell, Brian Evans, Paripari Parkinson, Siate Tokalahi, Ash Dixon, and Aidan Johnson. So, yeah, it's gonna be a very, very tough game between these two teams today. I do think that the Highlanders will be too strong for the Western Force, but we'll have to wait and see. The benches for the Western Force ready: Angus Wagner, Greg Holmes, Ryan McCauley, Brainard Stander, Ian Pryor, Domingo Miotti, and Jake Strachan. So quite a lot of Argentinian players in this lineup as well for the Western Force. Then for the Highlanders, Liam Goldman, Ethan de Groot, Josh Hoshnek, Josh Dixon, Kazuki Himeno, Kane Hamilton, Josh Ioane, and then Ngani Punavai, who had a really good game off the bench last week for the Highlanders. So it's going to be very interesting to see who's going to walk away with the victory today. Another look at the backline players for this Western Force team. And this is actually my first game doing a Western Force game. So I'm quite impressed with the lineup that they've got. Rob Carney, we know, is an international quality player for Ireland. Richard Kahui, former New Zealand player, now playing at the Western Force. Carl Godwin is an Australian cap player. Henry Taufua, I don't know too much about, as well as Jordan Olivafella, Jake McIntyre, and then Thomas Kubeli, the international scrum half for the Argentinians. So quite a lot of talent there in the backline for the Western Force. Then for the Highlanders, Sam Gilbert played really well last week. Theo Tompkinson moving from the center to the wing. Michael Collins and Scott Gregory. Gregory, another impressive player who really made his mark last week. Then Jonah Nareki, we all know what a quality player he's been for this Highlanders side. And looking forward to see if he can get go forward ball and maybe some ball into space. Then Mitch Hunt, obviously a quality player. He's been really good for the Highlanders since moving from the Crusaders. Then Aaron Smith, as always, a very, very good player. Then just having a look through that forwards of the Highlanders, Billy Harmon, Shannon Frizzell, finally back into the mix. Brian Evans and Buddy Parkinson should be a formidable lock combination. Then Tokalai and Aidan Johnson with Ash Dixon should just be too strong for the likes of Tom Robinson, Kaituu, and Medrano. But you never know. It could be a very, very competitive battle up front. And it's going to be all coming down to the back of forwards for me. And then Tim Anstey, Koteka, and Lee Warner, I haven't seen playing too much. I know Tamani and Jeremy Fruss. Jeremy Fruss, another New Zealander, now playing his straight in Australia. So, yeah, it's gonna be a battle of the forwards, and then obviously trying to send away those very talented backline players for both sides. So really looking forward to this. The players are now onto the field, and we're getting ready for the kickoff. The referee for today, Nick Berry, and James Leckie, the TMO along with Amy Parrott and Ruben Kane as the touch judges. So yeah, we're about to start this game, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be McIntyre to start it for the Western Force here. It is played in Perth, so home ground advantage to the Western Force as the kickoff has been taken, collected by Nareki inside the 22 of the Highlanders. Now Aaron Smith, out it goes to Frizzell, quick run by Michael Collins, over the 22 they go. Aaron Smith, Mitch Hunt stabs it through, and it's collected here by the Western Force on the 10-meter line inside Highlanders half as the player goes into touch. So it is going to be a Highlanders throw in to this lineup, about on the 10-meter line inside Highlanders half. So yeah, the kind of start you would expect from this game. Ash Dixon to throw this in the lineup for the Highlanders. Collected by Buddy Parkinson in that lineup. The maul has been formed now, goes off the back. Here comes Aaron Smith all the way up through Brian Evans up to the 10-meter line inside their own half. Good defense from the Western Force. Aaron Smith giving it out to Nareki, goes to the air. He's not renowned for his kicking, and that ball didn't travel too far, but the bounce was good for the Highlanders, but they've knocked it on, and now the Western Force have got this. A chance here, Koteka. Nice little run up from the Western Force up to the 10-meter line. Now a chance here, Kubeli trying to snipe on his own. Quick ball needs to come back now. It is Jeremy Frost. Out it goes again to the forwards of the Western Force. Kubeli, McIntyre, now Kyle Godwin stopped on the 10-meter line. Great defense from this Highlander side early on in this game. Kubeli again. Now McIntyre out to Rob Carney. Still on the 10-meter line as the Western Force. 6 phases already. And now a chance here for Lee Warner to take it up for them. Kubeli, out it goes to the left winger, Odofella. And Kubeli again now gives it out to the forwards. Santiago Medrano taking it up there for them. They're now on halfway. There's a gap opened up for them. It is Tamani up to the 22-meter line for the Western Force. Inside the 22, now Kubeli. Quick ball out to Olafella. Now it's McIntyre having a little run there. 10 meters out. Tom Robinson. Tackled well there by the Highlanders. Inside the 22 now. McIntyre. Out it goes to the back line. Rob Carney straightening the line. They've lost a couple of meters on the 22 now. Kubeli again. Taken in by the Western Force forwards. Can he come back quickly? Driven forward by the forwards of the Western Force. But we are going to have a penalty against the Western Force. Holding on the ground. So great defensive work there by Buddy Parkinson for the Highlanders. Great start from both teams so far, showing great attacking ability so far from the Western Force. And what a break from Tamani. He straightened the line to over the 22-meter line. And then just quick ball came out, but they couldn't do anything with it because the defense was so solid from the Highlanders. Right, so we've got a penalty to the Highlanders inside their own 22. It is going to be Mitch Hunt to kick this downfield. And his fine touch roundabout on the 10-meter line inside Highlanders half. Impressive start from the Western Force. Throwing from Ash Dixon now. Can he find his jumpers here? It is taken in beautifully there by Buddy Parkinson. And now loose ball gets out to the number 8, Renton. Aaron Smith back to Mitch Hunt, goes to the air, chased down here by Tompkinson on halfway. Beautifully collected by Olafella for the Western Force. Still going, driving his way forward to over halfway. Pick and go there from the forwards, not getting too much ground. Now a chance here. Tom Robinson puts his head down. They're inside the Highlanders half now. McIntyre, flat pass out to Lee Warner. Scrum off been taken out there. Surely there must be a penalty coming here for the Western Force. 5 phases already again. Now Kubeli. Out it goes to Koteka in the midfield for the Western Force. Great running angles from these guys so far. Great run again there. The right winger making his way up for them. Lee Warner driven back in that tackle all the way back to halfway, but a penalty to the Western Force now. We've seen the Western Force coming at pace in this game early on, and we've had 5 minutes already. Offside by the Highlanders, and a chance now for the Western Force maybe to set up an attacking line out coming up. Or have they decided to go for goal? Let's just wait and see. They are going to go for touch here. McIntyre to put this in to the stands, surely. And that kick, not finding the greatest of distance, finding touch outside the 22 of the Highlanders. So not the greatest of touch finder there for them. Chance now for Kaituk to throw this in for the Western Force. Just outside the 22 of the Highlanders. Taken in nicely by Jeremy Frost. Now driven up forward by the number 8 of the Western Force. Here they come. Jeremy Frost, McIntyre, offloads to Carl Godwin just outside the 22 now. And the referee has blown there for a little knock on from the Western Force. So it is going to be a scrum down to the Highlanders. 6 minutes into this first half. On their own 22, they will have an attempt at the scrum. Great bash up there from Tafu for the Western Force, but great defense from Renton on him, causing that little knock on the 22. Middle of the field, chance here for the Highlanders to get out of their own 22. So the Highlanders scrum heavier than the Force by a whole 42 kilos. Will we see that impact at scrum time? 7 minutes gone in this first half. And the scrum goes down. We didn't see too many scrum resets in the previous game, which was really good. So let's hope this one follows the same trend. And we don't have too many reset scrums. 7 minutes into this first half. The Western Force coming out full force, putting all the pressure on the Highlanders so far. But the Highlanders doing a great job in defense so far. Just keeping them out at all costs. Scrum feet on the 22 in the middle of the field for the Highlanders, inside their own 22. Another scrum collapse, and this time a penalty to the Highlanders. Going down on the side of Medrano there for the Western Force. Great scrum from Aidan Johnson. Definitely must be in the mix for New Zealand honours. A little bit later this year. We did get confirmation of the Rugby Championship fixtures this morning, so it should be a very interesting Rugby Championship coming out after the British and Irish Lions tour. So that kick from Mitch Hunt, finding touch roundabout and halfway. And a throw in from Aidan Johnson now. Just inside the Western Force half. It is taken by Paddy Parkinson, but not the greatest of pass to Smith. Now Ash Dixon gives it out to Tompkinson. Ball's been ripped, but it comes backwards. And a chance, Billy Harmon up to Shannon Frizzell, but he knocks it on. And surely that is going to be a scrum down to the Western Force now. Runabout on their own 10-meter line. So they've been let off the hook there by a knock-on from Shannon Frizzell. But we've seen some really good rugby in this opening 8 minutes of the game. Great defense again, this time from Tamani. And he's had a great start to this game. Already had one line break, which caused a hell lot of trouble for the Highlanders early on in this game. Right. Scrum feed to the Western Force. Roundabout on their own 10-meter line here. 9 minutes gone in this first half. Scrum feed from Kubeli. Right, let's see what's going to happen with the scrum. We've already had one scrum penalty. This one is a solid scrum. Kubeli off the back. Now gives it to McIntyre. Carl Godwin trying to straighten the line on the 10-meter line. Not gaining too much ground with that. And another penalty, one for the Highlanders now. This time it's Billy Harmon who did the hard work. stealing that ball on the ground. Carl Godwin didn't want to release. And another chance here for the Highlanders now, maybe going for touch, because these vital bonus points in these games, we saw the Hurricanes getting a bonus point earlier on, so they're now leading the lock. The Highlanders, if they can win this game, can move up to the top of the lock again. So that line out is going to take place roundabout on the 22 inside the Western Force. Right, opportunity now for the Highlanders, their first real attacking opportunity inside the 22 of the Highlanders, of the Western Force. Throw in from Ash Dixon. Finds Frizzell. Comes back to Aaron Smith. Now straightening the line there is Tompkinson. Comes back to Shannon Frizzell. The Highlanders making ground about 15 meters out. Now Renton. Aaron Smith awaiting the ball. Billy Harmon. Shannon Frizzell straightens the line. About 10 meters out now as the Highlanders. Comes back to Nareki. They're just running straight and hard at them. Now Mitchant, but the intercept from Rob Carney saves the day for the Western Force, and they've got it about 10 meters from their own try line. Now Kobeli, back it goes to Taufu, and he's going to kick it into touch for the Western Force. Finding touch roundabout between the 10 and the 22 inside their own half. Another chance for the Highlanders. It was actually Richard Kahui who made the intercept from Michante, but no space really, just gave them no chance. Christian Sesai Guru just popping in to say hi. How's it going, Christian? Hope you're well. Looking forward to the weekend's games. The throw-in taken there beautifully by Brian Evans, and a little run from Aaron Smith. Gives it out to Nareki, and it's going to be a try underneath the posts for the Highlanders. And what a set play move there from the Highlanders off the back of that lineup. Great stuff from them. 5-0 to the Highlanders, and surely that kick will not be missed. Aaron Smith broke through the first gap, and then the offload to Nareki was just fantastic. So 7 points to 0 after about, let's see, is it 10 minutes or so? Brilliant break from Aaron Smith. Great offload to Nareki. And under the post goes the Highlanders for the first try of this game. We've had 12 and a half minutes, 7 points to 0, the Highlanders lead. And could this be the start? Because this was only about their second real opportunity so far to go on the attack. And it's worked out brilliantly. Katu just couldn't get Aaron Smith. He ran on to pace, and then Nareki in support. Great try for the Highlanders. Great try assist there. And the Highlanders are on to the board. 7 points to 0. 13 gone in this first half. Such strong runners in this Highlanders side. Will the Western Force be able to keep up with them? The restart from McIntyre finds, Tompkinson there for the Highlanders, just outside of 22. Now Shannon Frizzell puts his head down. Aaron Smith controlling at the back now. Mitch Hunt's going to kick this downfield, and he's not going to find touch into the hands of Rob Carney. Now for the Western Force, up to halfway he goes. Needs support now. Switches back inside to Carl Godwin. Puts his head down up to the 10-meter line inside Highlanders half. Charge from Medrano. They need quick ball now as the Western Force. Taken up by Lee Warner. Now they're going to the back line again. It is the hooker who makes it up to the 10-meter line. Now McIntyre again. Rob Carney hammered in a tackle by Theo Tompkinson. And now Gregory have a chance to move his way forward up to the 10-meter line of the Western Force. But a really sloppy pass all the way back to their own 10-meter line. And a kick forward there from the Highlanders. And the ball is going to roll to the inside of 22. Kicked by Richard Kahui for the Western Force. Not finding touch. Now Mitch Hunt on halfway. Still going as Mitch Hunt. And that could be a penalty to Richard Kahui. And it's going to be, well, is it going to be a yellow card to Richard Kahui as well? No. It's only penalty against him. Deliberate knockdown. Possible opportunity there for the Highlanders to go on the attack. just put out his finger, and that is not good enough from Richard Kahui. Now Mitch Hunt is going to kick this downfield again, trying to set up a nice little angle for this Highlander side, but there is currently an injury to Brian Evans. Right. Great tackle from Sio Tompkinson on Rob Carney, spilling that ball loose. And then some argy-bargy kicking down the field, and then Mitch Hunt, certainly wouldn't have been a try, but the deliberate knockdown there from Kahui forcing the penalty here for the Highlanders. Right, so we got a little injury breakdown at the moment for Brian Evans for the Highlanders, just getting some attention. And then when we come back, it should be a line-out deep inside the 22 of the Western Force for the Highlanders. 15 minutes gone in this first half. The Highlanders opening up the scoreboard through a brilliant break from Aaron Smith, and then another brilliant offload to Nareki, who ran in on support and went over in the middle of the post for that 7-pointer. Right, so Mitch Hunt now going to go for the corner here. Let's just see where he puts this out. Another chance for New Zealand Rugby to just display their dominance over the Australian franchises. That's going to find touch roundabout on the 22, so not the greatest of kick from Mitch Hunt there. Line out to the Highlanders on the 22. So the last time they were there, they went to score a try through Nareki. Will they get another chance now? Ash Dixon with this throw into the line out. Let's see what's going to happen. Throws it. Going to find Brian Evans at the back, and now Shannon Frizzell charging his way up to the 22. Got defended well there. Billy Harmon knocking it on for the Highlanders. So opportunity goes to waste for the Highlanders. Just sloppy hands there from Billy Harmon, the ex-Crusaders player. Great bash up there from Shannon Frizzell, taking 2 defenders with him. But then Billy Harmon just couldn't hold on to that ball. Scrum down to the Western Force. On the 22-meter line inside their own half. 16.5 minutes gone in this first half, guys. The Highlanders scoring the only try so far in the game through Jonah Nareki. Furthermore, it's been Western Force and Highlanders playing some really aggressive attacking rugby so far, but the defense have been holding well. Kubeli off the back of that scrum now gives it out to Rob Carney, who kicks it downfield, and what a great kick from him up to halfway, it seems. Oh, no, it's been taken back by the Western Force, and now it's going to be a line-out inside the 22 of the Western Force for this Highlanders side. Didn't realize that they've taken that back, and some confusion as well. So the scrum was just over the 22, and for that reason the ball was taken back, and Rob Carney didn't realize that. So now line out Ash Dixon inside the 22, taken by Renton. A short little pass from Ash Dixon there, but under pressure is this Highlander side, and they are going to get the ball back. Very sloppy at the back now. Gregory's got it. They've lost plenty of ground with this. Going down now, just outside, 5 meters out from the 22. The Highlanders now. Frizzell, Aaron Smith loops around. It's a great little run there from Tompkinson. Well, in fact, it's Josh Ioane who is playing he is onto the field. So that has been an early change in that first half. So the Western Force comes away with the ball just outside their own 22. Somehow stolen that ball, and now Lee Warner taking it up for the Western Force. Kubeli wants it back. Now comes back to McIntyre, goes to the air. Chased down by Richard Kahui, and Nareki's got it for the Highlanders on halfway. Needs to come back now to the Highlanders side on halfway. Taken up by Renton, gives it out to Paddy Parkinson. Good defense from the Western Force. Aaron Smith now out it goes to Frizzell over halfway up to the 10-meter line. He goes with a great little bullocking run, but a bit isolated, but it comes back to their side now. Renton on a 10-meter line for the Highlanders. Aaron Smith with a little kick over the top, being charged down by the Western Force, but unfortunately a little knock-on from Richard Kahui, and it's going to be another scrum to the Highlanders on a 10-meter line. We've had 19 and a half minutes gone in this first half. What a player Shannon Frizzell is, just taking those players with him, coming over the advantage line, a little bit isolated, but they did get it back, and then the little box kick from Aaron Smith over the top, being charged down by Kubeli, causing some problems, and then just Richard Kahui, who couldn't hold on to that ball. So 19 and a half minutes gone, 7 points to 0. The Western Force leading the Western Force trailing to the Highlanders currently at the moment. Just got a little injury break again, attendance to one of the Highlanders players as we get ready for this scrum feed to the Highlanders. Possession so far going the way of the Western Force, 54-46. Territory as well going to the Force, 55-46. Carries so far, Western Force 31, Highlanders 21. Gain line carries 28-17. But the Highlanders have made more carry meters, 98-91. And that is thanks to the likes of Shannon Frizzell, just making plenty of headway every time he does a carry. So the Highlanders have been twice to the 22 of the Western Force, scoring on one occasion, and the Western Force also having 2 visits to the Highlanders, but not getting anything. Tackles, 50 tackles to 33 from the Highlanders against the Western Force. So very competitive game so far from both teams. Nothing in it. Albert Tritter says, thanks for the showing. Greetings out of Perth, Australia. So it's a pleasure doing this, guys. Really enjoying it. Mitch Hunt now. Nareki. The Highlanders on the attack. A poor little pass to Joshuani. Kicks it forward. Collected beautifully by Carl Godwin. Now Richard Kahui on the 22. The Western Force have got this. So they will get out of trouble. Kubeli going the blind side. Back switches back to Rob Carney. But great defense from Billy Harmon, pushing them backwards to inside the 22. Remember, they've taken it back now, so they can't kick this out directly as the Western Force. Kubeli at the back gives it out to McIntyre, who's going to thump this downfield, and that's going to go out directly. So I'm a little bit confused, as I thought they did carry it back from inside, well, from outside the own 22, but it is going to be a line-out roundabout on the 10-meter line inside the Western Force territory. Thrown from Ash Dixon. It's been overthrown, but rightfully so, into the hands of C.O. Tompkinson. Aaron Smith out it goes to Mitch Hunt. Now back to Nareki. Over the 22-meter line they go. Quick set-up ball now. Aaron Smith back to Buddy Parkinson. Just held up in the 22, but a serious injury to one of the Western Force players now. And the game gets stopped almost immediately. So after 21 minutes, we should have another scrum down to the Highlanders. But, McIntyre got a smack to the head there from C.O. Tompkinson. And he's gone down flat out. So, not sure whether it's a neck injury or just a concussion maybe, or he just went out lights out. Barry says, hi, what is your score prediction? So I said the Highlanders by 15 plus. I just don't think that the Western Force will be up for it. But you never know. They've been playing some really good rugby in this opening 20 minutes. And we will see Domingo Miotti come on for James McIntyre. So he will have no more part in this game as they're still attending to him. It does look pretty serious for McIntyre at the moment. But for those of you who've missed it, the Highlanders did open the scoreboard roundabout on the 12th minute when Aaron Smith broke through from a line-out. Bad defense from the hooker of the Western Force. Broke the line and just a nice little offload to Nareki, and he went under the post for that opening try of this game. Apart from that, we've seen some great attacking play from both sides. The Western Force looking very dangerous in that first 5 minutes when Tamani, the lockford, broke straight through the middle of the Highlanders' defense, but just didn't have enough support, and a penalty was forced from that. So, yeah, and then we've had a couple of good breaks, good line runs from Frizzell. We've seen some really good runs from the back line as well. So, yeah, it's been quite the game so far in this game. We've had 21 minutes gone. McIntyre is still down at the moment, but he is looking better. He is up and sitting down. So it could be a shoulder or just a little bit of a neck strain. Barry also says they were doing so good but disappointing in the end, the Western Force. So, yeah, you must remember last season they ended last in Super Rugby AU. And in this year, they reached the playoffs of the Super Rugby AU. So it was quite an impressive turnaround for the Western Force. But they got some really good players on their cards as well. So McIntyre now finally leaving the field. Domingo Miotti is on in the place of him. And we will have a scrum down to the Highlanders runabout on the 22-meter line inside the Western Force half. McIntyre not looking good. Seems like he doesn't know whether he's on the field or not. A bit confused as to where he is. So we will have a scrum down just outside the 22 of the Western Force. Scrum down to the Highlanders. 21 minutes gone. Can the Highlanders score another try here, which will surely damp the presence of this Western Force side? Barry said the Rebels. Yeah, the Rebels started off well, but just fell away in that second half. Right, scrum feed down, penalty advantage to the Highlanders now. As the scrum goes down, but Aaron Smith's got it off the back, and now he's going to pass it out to Gregory. Up to the 22-meter line he goes, but the referee sees no advantage and then gives the penalty to the Highlanders. Surely they will go to touch from here. It's a great angle to kick to touch. Should set it up about 5 meters out, unless they would want to go the safe route and go for goal from here. We've had 22 minutes in this first half. And, yeah, let's see what they can conjure up. 5 meters out, line out to the Highlanders now. And a chance for Ash Dixon to throw this in. Right, should be a great opportunity here for the Highlanders to get it back. Barry Green says, I heard Mapimpi back. Yeah, he is back for the Sharks, so he should play off the bench tomorrow against the Stormers. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Ash Dixon with the throw into this lineup. He's going to go to Frizzell. They form them all quickly. Still going forward, and they should be over the try line. Try's been awarded, and another great try to them. This time it is who's coming up with that ball. It looks like Aiden Johnson went over for the try there for the Highlanders. And a total dominant maul there from them just sets up the second try here for the Highlanders. Great stuff. Already a penalty advantage was coming for collapsing, but a great lineup, great maul, and just sheer power just pushed them over for that try. 12 points to 0. The Highlanders leading the Western Force at the moment. And things are not looking good for the Australian franchises at the moment. Conversion to come for Mitch Hunt now. Aiden Johnson scoring the try there for the Highlanders. His first Super Rugby try. Barry also says, why would you put him on a bench? He's just a good player. They must him in starting lineup. So I haven't seen the Sharks starting lineup just yet, but from what I'd expect, just coming back now, he would probably play off the bench. But I'll have a look at that for you a little bit later and let you know. But as far as I know, he will be playing off the bench. But let's just have a quick look while we wait for this conversion to be taken. Mitch Hunt with that conversion attempt goes to the right, unfortunately, and it stays 12 points to 0 after 25 minutes of play. Right, so I can only find the Stormers lineup here at the moment. While we wait for the restart by Miotti here for the Western Force, it goes quite deep, all the way up to the 22-meter line. And it's been taken in by the Highlanders. So Aaron Smith is waiting for that ball to come back. Taken up by Shannon Frizzell. Good defense there from Lee Warner. Just stopping him in his tracks. Now it comes back to Nareki, who kicks it downfield. Not going to find touch. Chance here for the Western Force. Miotti with the high kick, chased by Rob Carney. Knocks it on, unfortunately. And we should come back for that knock on from them. So a great high hanging kick there from Miotti, chased by Rob Carney, but just unfortunately knocking it on. And we will have a scrum down just outside the 22 of the Highlanders. 26 minutes gone in this first half. Right. "26 minutes gone." It is a scrum down to the Highlanders now. For some reason, I can't find the Sharks team to play. Can you believe that? So, scrum down to the Highlanders now. Aaron Smith. No, scrum goes down. And we will have another reset scrum then. Yeah, so Barry, I've just gone through the lineup of the Sharks, and Mapimp is not in the match 23 for this game. So I guess that they will only play him next week, maybe, against the Lions, perhaps. Cool PP says, I must show the game. Unfortunately, I can't do that. I did it once and I got banned for 3 months. So as much as I want to show you guys the screen, I can't do that, unfortunately. Scrum feed to the Highlanders now, just outside their own 22. It is Aaron Smith who feeds it. And a penalty comes the way of the Western Force after Aiden Johnson gets scrummed by by Medrano, of the Western Force. Great scrum there from Santiago Medrano. Aiden Johnson just popping out in that scrum. Penalty to the Western Force, just outside the 22. Opportunity here for the Western Force. Surely they will go for touch from here. I can't see them going any other way from here. Well, it is actually, they are going to go for goal. So Diego Miotti will have a shot at goal here with about 28 minutes gone in this first half. Should be a gimme for him, but you never know. Might just miss it right in front. We've seen those happen before. So let's see what happens with this kick. He is lining up for this one. Miotti coming on in the place of McIntyre, who saw stars very early on in this first half. Right, he's lining it up, taking his time with this kick is Miotti, the Argentinian fly half. Goes straight through the middle, so 12 points to 3 it is here after around 28 minutes of play. The Western Force opting to go for the 3-pointer instead of going for the try there. 29 minutes gone, and it is going to be a restart now from Mitch Hunt. Highlanders looking strong and on their way to another victory here today, scoring 2 tries to none in this first half. Nareki and Aiden Johnson scoring those 2 tries for the Highlanders. Kickoff taken by Kyle Godwin inside the 22 of the Western Force. Chance now, Kubeli gives it out to Jeremy Frust, just making his way over the 22 now. Kubeli, back it comes to Rob Carney, who's going to hammer this downfield into the hands of Uwani, who is playing at fullback today in the place of Gilbert. A penalty advantage coming for the Highlanders now on a 10-meter line. Mitch Hunt now switches back to Aiden Johnson. Now Nareki with space opening up. Can he go all the way? Nareki over the 22, 10 meters out now. Aaron Smith back to Mitch Hunt. Gives it out to the outside center now for them. Quick recycle ball now. Frizzell 5 meters out as the Highlanders now. Ash Dixon, Aaron Smith now out to Gregory again. 5 meters out. Oh, and a little knock on there from Ash Dixon, but we are coming back for that penalty. And some great attacking play here from the Highlanders. Michael Collins had a great little bash up there as well. And then the rest, Nareki with a brilliant breakout. Great loop around from Ash Dixon, and then Nareki into space. Thought for a moment he was going to go all the way, but some great defense from Kubeli stopped him right before he could hit that final gap. But great attacking play from the Highlanders. Unfortunately, Ash Dixon just knocking that ball on. But we are going back for another penalty, and it looks like Mitch Hunt will have a shot at goal right in front. So shouldn't see any problem with that. The Highlanders should go up by 15 points to 3 with 9 minutes to go in this first half. Entertaining first half we've seen so far, but again, the Highlanders just dominating the overall play. We've just seen the difference when they've got ball in hand. They tend to make those hard yards and go over the advantage line, while the Western Force struggle to gain that momentum at the moment. 15 points to 3 with 8 minutes to go in this first half. Will we see something from the Western Force right before half time? Shannon Frizzell really impressing so far for the Highlanders, as Miotti now going to restart this game. 8 minutes to go in this first half. Opportunity. It's a restart taken by Brian Evans for the Highlanders. Just outside the 22, Aaron Smith's got it. Now gives it out to Ash Dixon, who puts his head down. Aaron Smith just controlling it off the back. Gives it out to Mitch Hunt, who's going to fire it downfield. Not going to find touch, though. And into the hands of Rob Carney. A chance here for Miotti. Up to halfway they go. Gives it out to Richard Kahui. Comes back to the way of Tamani. Now Jeremy Frust. Western Force with a chance on halfway. Kubeli. Another little run here from the big forwards. Medrano, Kubeli, Miotti. It sounds like an Argentinian team at the moment. Richard Kahui gets caught behind the advantage line there. And the Western Force now will have to run from inside their own half. Chance here for Tafu. Kubeli again gives it out to the hooker of the Western Force, but it's ripped there from the Highlanders. And a chance here to attack. Nareki knocks it backwards, and Mitch Hunt is going to kick this into space rather than try and run this. But he does find the left winger in Olivofela, and he's going to kick it downfield into touch. Quickly thrown in by Mitch Hunt. Now gives it to Nareki again. Nareki puts it to the boot, chases it himself. Nice little one bounce. Kubeli's got it. Kubeli's got it for the Western Force. Now comes back to Miotti. Now Rob Carney to kick this downfield again for the Western Force. Finds Josh Ioane. Josh Ioane is going to stab that through straight into the hands of Rob Carney, who kicks it downfield again. Nobody at the back for the Highlanders at the moment. Inside the 22 now. Mitch Hunt comes back for it. And surely he will just thump this into touch. And he's going to find touch roundabout on halfway. But we are going to come back for a penalty to the Highlanders. Players not retreating from that kick. So with 6 minutes to go, it's another opportunity here for the Highlanders. After some very exciting play in this first half, we all come back for another penalty. Highlanders will feel that they've already got 2 tries. Maybe just kick this and try and secure a third try, because the 3 tries will give them the bonus point they so desperately need at this stage. So Mitch Hunt is going to go for the corner now. With 5 minutes to go in this first half. Chance here for the Highlanders. Penalty on the 10-meter line. Will he try and find touch inside the 22 now? And that is a massive kick from Mitch Hunt, finding touch around about 6 meters from the try line. And this sets up a really good opportunity now for the Highlanders with 5 minutes to go in this first half. So the Highlanders are more likely to score from the second first half 20 minutes or the second quarter of the first half. So chance here for the Highlanders, 5 meters out. Taken in beautifully by Brian Evans. They form another maul. The last one they did went really well. So it is going sideways at the moment for the Highlanders. Still trying to find their way forward. But the Western Force doing well to disrupt this maul so far. Now they start going forward. Will they be able to stop them? Now Aaron Smith on the back gives it out to Gregory. Gregory over the try line. Should be over for the try. What a great little burst of energy there from Scott Gregory. But we are going to go up to the TMO. He might have just lost it just as he went over the try line. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm almost sure that he did get it down eventually. But we will have to wait and see now. He ran past Kubeli and then 3 guys onto him. Did he manage to get that ball down? It looks like he did. So Gregory, with 4 men onto him, went over that try line. Got held up on the first account, but then momentum took him over for that try. Should be a try. I would have awarded it. Let's see what the TMO says. Right, so the try has been awarded. It is now 20 points to 3. The Highlanders leading with a conversion to come. Scott Gregory did phenomenally well there. First ran over Kubeli and then took 3 players with him over the try line there to score that try. He is definitely one for the future for New Zealand rugby. Is the inside centre of the Highlanders, Scott Gregory. Great work from him. Gets the 3rd try, and that's the bonus point now for the Highlanders at the moment. So with 3.5 minutes to go in this first half, Mitch Hunt with another conversion attempt. Little bit difficult, but on about 10 meters out from the touch line on the 22. So should be really, for him, should be an easy kick. Well, 3 minutes left in this first half now. If this goes over, it's 22 points to 3. But he might find it a little bit difficult. Conversion, no, it's not going to go over. It's going to go to the right of the post. So 20 points to 3. Albert Tritter says, thinks it's all over for the Force now. Too many points to make up against a quality side like the Highlanders. Yeah, I would say that, Albert. I really can't see them coming back from this. It's just so unfortunate that we see such dominance from the New Zealand teams against the Australian counterparts. But we'll have to wait and see. Maybe the second half will deliver. from that kickoff. The Western Force have stolen that ball and they've got possession on halfway now. A chance here for the Western Force to go on the attack just before half time. 2 minutes left. Here we go. Domingo with the little kick, and now it's kicked forward here by Anstey, and it's been collected by Aaron Smith, who kicks it downfield, and it's going to find touch on a 10-meter line inside the Highlanders half. So with 2 minutes to go, let's see if the Western Force can get some points just before half time. It is the hooker of the Western Force to throw this in. Guy 2 on the 10-meter line inside Highlanders half. Throw in taken beautifully there. Now Kubeli out to Miotti. Back inside it goes. Beautiful run from Olafella. Out to Tafu. Back to Kubeli. But Kubeli, unfortunately, did he knock it on? No, he didn't. He's over the try line, and the Western Force might have just scored a try here before half time. We'll have to wait and see. The referee is going to go up to the TMO. I thought it was a knock-on, but somehow he managed to keep hold of that ball and run straight through the defense of the Highlanders there. This could be a big moment in this game with just about a minute to go in this first half. Let's see what they're looking for. Tafu ran a beautiful angle. Knocked on, no, it's knocked back by Brian Evans. So this try should stand here for him, surely. Kubeli just beat 2 defenders there on his way to the try line. That should be a try. With just over a minute to go in this first half. The try has been awarded, so surely the conversion will go over as well. So we should be at 20 points to 10 going into the last minute of this first half. What a response from the Western Force. Great run from Olafella. And then another great run from Taufua. And then Kupeli just straightening up and getting the try from the loose ball. And suddenly the Western Force find themselves back in this game. Just shows you how quickly a game can change with a minute to go in this first half. 10 points the difference. Western Force 10, Highlanders 20. 30 seconds to be exact left on the clock, so we will have time for a restart to this game in the first half. Great comeback from the Western Force. Great offload from Olafella there, the left winger of the Western Force. Right, restart from Mitch Hunt is collected by Rob Carney just outside the 22 of the Western Force. The hood has gone for halftime. Kubeli gives it out back to Miori, who's just going to thump that into touch. So at halftime, it is the Western Force 10, the Highlanders 20. And what a first half we've had. Couldn't have asked for a better first half to this game. And really looking forward to the second half. Western Force 10, Highlanders 20. I will be back in about 5 to 10 minutes as I'll bring you guys the live commentary for the second half. See you guys soon. Don't go anywhere. Right, we are back for the second half of this game. The Highlanders leading 20 points to 10. And what a game we've had so far. I'm quite impressed by this Western Force effort so far. It is looking really good. Look like we're going to have a solid second half. It's just going to be a question whether this Western Force side will be able to keep up with them. So far, Rob Carney has had a really good game. Richard Kahui has had an up and down battle so far, knocking on a few balls, but really good in defense. Carl Godwin has taken up a good few balls so far for this Western Force side. Ta'afu has been really great at center. Oliver Fella has been great, had a couple of good runs so far in this first half. Jake McIntyre, unfortunately, having to leave the field with an injury very early on in that first half, replaced by Miotti for him. And then Thomas Kubeli has been really exceptional for the Western Force as well. Then for the Highlanders, Sam Gilbert didn't play. It is Josh Ioane who's at fullback. Theo Tompkinson has been pretty solid so far on the wing. Michael Collins and Scott Gregory just causing lots of headaches for this Western Force in the midfield. Janan Areki scoring an early try and having a few really good runs so far. Mitch Hunt just controlling the game at 10 for them. And Aaron Smith, as always, having a really solid game as well. What have impressed me so far is this back forwards of the Western Force standing their man very strongly against this Highlanders side at the moment. So Tim Anstey, Koteka, and Lee Warner has been pretty solid. Tamani has been the standout player here in the forwards for this Western Force side so far, getting those line breaks, had a superb run down the middle already. Jeremy Frost doing a good job. Santiago Medrano, Kaitui, and Robinson standing the man solidly against this Highlanders pack. Then for them, Hugh Renton, Billy Harmon, and Shannon Frizzell been pretty solid, but Frizzell having a cracker of a game so far. You could see the quality of the All Black player coming back into the side. And Brian Evans and Parkinson has been pretty solid as well. Tokalai, Ash Dixon, and Aiden Johnson having a firm contest there up front with the Western Force guys. Aiden Johnson also getting a try. His very first Super Rugby try. So he'll be a very happy man today. So it's going to be interesting to see what this benches are going to do for the Western Force, because Reddy, Wagner, Holmes, McCauley, Stunder, Pryor, Miotti already on the field, and then Strachan will come on at a later stage. Will they have enough grunt to beat this Highlanders side when the likes of Coltman, the Groot, Hoshnek, Dixon, Himeno, Hamilton, and Punavai comes onto the field? I just can't see them being strong enough to beat this Highlanders side. They're trailing by 10 points at halftime, getting that try just before halftime through Kabeli to put them in with a slight chance in the second half. But I do believe that the Highlanders will be too strong coming out in the second half. They've been playing some really good rugby. The Western Force themselves have been pretty solid as well. But yeah, when you look at the contest, I don't think the crowd will be able to carry this Western Force side over the try line in the second half to beat this Highlanders side. Unfortunately, just can't see this happening. Alberto Stritter says for the Force to get back in the game, they will have to score early in the second half. I'm very much with you, Albert. If the Western Force can hit back early in the second half, they could give them that momentum to maybe, just maybe, upset this Highlanders side. But going by history, the Highlanders tend to score very early on in the second half. So it's going to be interesting to see. Hopefully they can keep them out and get that first points for the Western Force in the second half. But it's going to be interesting to see. We know the Western Force is coming off a very good Super Rugby AU. But then again, you have to keep in mind that the Highlanders trashed the reigning AU champions last week. And whether this team spirit of the Western Force that they currently have in this camp will be enough to overturn a 10-point deficit in the second half, we'll have to wait and see. But again, like I say, I think the New Zealand franchises have just shown in this first 2 weeks of the Trans-Tasman that they're just too strong for their Australian counterparts. Not taking away from the Brumbies, who had an excellent game against the Crusaders last week. And then also the Western Force keeping the Chiefs within 1 point. But to be honest, I don't rate the Chiefs as highly. I think they were pretty lucky to get where they were at the point where they could reach the Super Rugby Aotearoa final. But yeah, time will tell whether this competition will have any meaning whatsoever. At the moment, it is 6 from 6 for the New Zealand franchises, with another game now, the 7th game, possibly going to a New Zealand franchise. That was always going to be my main concern looking back at Super Rugby overall 2 years ago. The Australian franchises was just never in it, really. And even the South African sides were struggling against the New Zealand counterparts. And it just shows you the dominance. They've got so much depth, so much quality for a small nation like themselves, but a rugby-mad country, that they could produce these type of players in every little franchise and then just build towards that for the All Blacks. Because I'm very sure that there will be plenty of new names coming the way of the All Black squad a little bit later on. But yeah, as far as this Trans-Tasman competition goes, it looks like New Zealand teams will dominate yet again, and we will probably see a New Zealand final come in a couple of weeks' time. What will be quite interesting is this bonus point system, where we already saw the Hurricanes now securing 2 bonus point victories. Highlanders, 1 try short of gaining that bonus point today. And the Crusaders, on the other hand, didn't get the bonus point against the Brumbies last week, which could have a massive impact on the final stands of this Trans-Tasman competition. Yeah, the players are now back onto the field. I think I've rumbled enough. We are waiting the start of the second half. But yeah, let's hope the Western Force can score early on in the second half, and we should then be in for a very, very entertaining second half. 11J said has also joined in, asking if I'm well. I'm very well, thank you, 11J said. Just looking forward to the second half of this Trans-Tasman game. The Western Force just keeping up with the Highlanders, scoring a try just before halftime to keep them in contention for this game. 11J said, have you seen the Rugby Champions schedule? Yes, I have. It's looking pretty solid as we get the kickoff from Mitch Hunt into the hands of Carl Godwin, who kicks it downfield immediately and finds touch roundabout and halfway. Alberto Stritter says, problem is here in Perth, rugby union is so small compared to AFL. It's not like South Africa and New Zealand, where rugby is a religion. And I agree once again with you, Albert. Unfortunately, we've seen Australian rugby union go down to the likes of League and the AFL. So they can't compete at the moment. Line out taken by the Highlanders. Another poor pass at the back. Sees Ioane under pressure on his own 10-meter line. Aaron Smith regrouping now. Paddy Parkinson putting his head down. Just working his way up through the middle. Aaron Smith now gives it out to Mitch Hunt. Gregory spin skip Nareki with the kick downfield. He's going to find plenty of space, and it's going to run into over the 22-meter line behind Rob Carney. It's going to be a line-out throw into the Western Force inside their own 22. Yeah, South Africa play Argentina twice at home and then away to New Zealand and Australia. Should be a really tough rugby championship coming up. Right, the throw-in is stolen by the Highlanders, and now chance. Aaron Smith gives it out to Mitch Hunt. Now it's Ioane, Gregory. Somebody needs to straighten the line here. It is going to be Tompkinson to straighten the line over the 22-meter line. Goes the Highlanders. Now it's Ash Dixon, puts his head down 10 meters out. Aaron Smith again. Now gives it out. Nearly intercepted there by the Western Force, and we are going to have a scrum down to the Western Force as there's been a little bit of a forward pass from Aaron Smith to Josh Ioane. Yeah, it has been deemed forward from Ioane to Tompkinson. And we will have that scrum to the Western Force, 10 meters out from their own try line. Right, interesting start to the second half. I did say that the Highlanders are likely to score very early on in the second half, but somehow the Western Force have kept them out in this opening 2 or 3 minutes of the second half. Scrum feed now, Kobeli to feed this ball, but we will have another reset scrum here to the Western Force. That scrum just going down and the referee allowing for a reset there. What I do like so far is with this opening 2 games of this weekend, we haven't seen too many scrum resets, which have kind of been in the headlines last week because we saw so many of them being reset and just wasting valuable time in the game. So it's been quite positive this weekend to see a lot less of those so far. Kobeli to feed the scrum. Can they do something from here? Here's the Western Force. Big scrum from the Highlanders. Comes back to Kobeli. Now a chance for them to bash it up through the middle. Darfu. Still just inside their own 22 at the moment. Now the hooker taking it up. Just trying to create a bit of space here for the kickers of the Western Force. Kobeli goes to the air. High hanging kick from him. Chased down by the Western Force, and it does come back, but a penalty to the Highlanders. Again, players in front of the kicker. And now another chance for the Highlanders to set up maybe 5 meters out from the Western Force try line. 11J said, when a player is injured during a game and there is a scrum to resume the game, do you think they should have scrum penalties? Let me just read that again. When a player is injured during a game and there is a scrum to resume the game, do you think they should have scrum penalties? So, are you talking about a lucid or tighted prop getting injured during the game and getting replaced? Because surely they do have props on the bench who can come on and replace them. But yeah, scrum penalties, a lot lately. But let's go back to that line out. It's been taken by the Highlanders. About 10 meters out from the Western Force try line. Driving maul set up by the Highlanders now, and there's a good opportunity for them now. Ash Dixon at the back. Aaron Smith gives it out to Gregory. Now, thumping tackle there on the Highlanders, and it's been stolen by Kahui for the Western Force. Driving his way up forward, and now a kick downfield from the Western Force. Nobody at the back. Billy Harmon comes back for the Highlanders. He's got Olafella on him, but a nice little fend off from him, and a chance here for the Highlanders as Nareki kicks this forward into the hands of Rob Carney for the Western Force. Taken up by Richard Kahui up to halfway for the Western Force. Kobeli, Carl Godwin, long skip pass from Miotti, back inside they go. Now it's looking good for the Western Force, but unfortunately they go into touch. There's the number 8, Anstey, who tried to kick that forward but got bundled into touch by Shannon Frizzell there. A little knock forward from Mitch Hunt in the tackle that led to Kahui getting that ball. And from there, they looked pretty good on the attack, was the Western Force. Koteka with the inside pass to Anstey, but we could have a line out now to the Western Force. Now, it is going to be a ball to the Highlanders surely after this. Looking to see, Shannon Frizzell might have touched that ball that led them to go into touch. So Nareki down at the moment for the Highlanders, receiving some attention. We've had about 6 minutes in the second half. And just having another look at that ball to see whose ball it's going to be in the lineup. It's definitely been touched by Shannon Frizzell, so it should be a lineup to the Western Force. On the 10-meter line, inside Highlanders half, they've got it. Taken up nicely by Jeremy Frust now. The Western Force going on a little mauling drive here on the 10-meter line inside the Highlanders half. Kubeli out to Tafur. He's had some really good runs so far, stopped by Gregory. Now Kubeli again, out to Miotti, back inside to Koteka, but then just a little knock on there in the offload, and great defense from Scott Gregory for the Highlanders. It is going to be a scrum down to the Highlanders on the 10-meter line inside their own half. Great defense from Scott Gregory on Tafua there, just causing all sorts of problems for them in the midfield. Made another tackle there on Koteka, who knocked the ball on there. So 2 valuable tackles from him on both occasions, stopping his opposition in this track. And I must say, I'm really impressed by this youngster. Scott Gregory, remember the name. Scrum down to the Highlanders. Now Ethan de Groot is on for Aiden Johnson. 7 minutes into the second half. We should see a couple of changes coming on very soon for both sides. 7 minutes into the second half. Scrum feed from Aaron Smith. Strong, solid scrum at the back here. Now Aaron Smith, out it goes to Mitch Hunt, puts it to the boot, trying to find a bit of space, and it unfortunately goes directly into touch. And it is going to be a line-up to the Western Force, runabout on a 10-meter line inside Highlanders territory. Well, it's actually between the 10 and the 22. So a great attacking opportunity early on now in the second half for the Western Force. What can they do from here? It is the Kaitu to throw in for the Western Force. About 5 meters out from the 22 of the Highlanders. Taken in nicely this time from Koteka. Now it's been driven forward. Kubeli. A nice little offload to Richard Kawi in the middle of the field. Kubeli sniping on his own. Still going over the 22-meter line he goes. Penalty advantage to the Western Force for a dangerous tackle. Now about 15 meters out from the try line. Carl Godwin out to Tamani. Puts it to the boot. Shouldn't be kicking. But we do come back for that penalty right in front for the Western Force, and surely they will have a crack at goal from here to reduce the deficit to just 7 points after 8.5 minutes in the second half. Paddy Parkinson going down with a bit of cramp there. It's been quite an entertaining game, this one. We've seen some really good runs from both sides in this game. Defense just holding really well at the moment. So, yeah, it should be a straightforward penalty kick, this one for Miotti. Obviously, the Western Force boosting quite a lot of Argentinian players at the moment. They've got Medrano, they've got Kubeli, and then Miotti as well. So, yeah, let's just wait to see after this little break. They will probably have a shot at goal. No, they won't. Miotti is going to go for the corner here. Interesting decision to make. They want to hit back almost immediately in the second half now. So Miotti going for the corner now, finding touch about 5 meters out. Chance for the Western Force. 9 minutes gone in the second half. So they desperately need to score points from here. Katu with the throw in here for the Western Force. He is going to find Anstey now. Anstey going 5 meters from the try line. Quick ball, Kubeli. Now a chance here for Medrano. Kubeli again. Now gives it out to Warner Lee Warner. Chance Miotti to Kahui. They've lost a bit of ground. It's about 7 meters out now. Taken up by the hooker again for the Western Force. Quick recyclable penalty advantage coming for the Western Force. Yep, they are going to go for the penalty now. So just a little bit of argy-bargy going on there between the two teams at the moment. Tempers flying. But really, no need for this nonsense. About 10 minutes gone in this first half. Another penalty chance here for the Western Force. Surely maybe setting up another lineup. They need to score if they want to stay in contention here. Really impressive stuff from the Western Force so far. It was Kubeli who lost his temper. And then Medrano took it further, saying, "You're not going to mess with my teammate." Barry asking how much time is left. There's 30 minutes left in this game, Barry. So still plenty of time for both teams. As Miotti is going to kick for the corner again, setting up that line out. 5 meters out. 30 minutes to go. Can the Western Force hit back? If they can score from here, it's game on. Katu is going to throw this in for them. Western Force taking their time. Medrano just having a word there with him, calling the shots. Let's see if the Western Force can hit back now. Big moment in this game for them. Throw-in taken by Tamani. Maul has been formed. Can they drive this forward, or has the Highlanders stopped them already? Not gaining any ground at the moment is the Western Force. They need to get this game moving forward now. Kubeli's got his hands on the back now. Gives it to Afu. Carl Godwin breaking the first line of defense up to the 5 meters line they go. Now Miotti got a pass to Rob Carney. Good defense from the Highlanders, keeping them out. And a penalty to the Highlanders. Renton getting another steal on the ground there. And that's his second of the game, causing really big problems at the breakdown for the Western Force. Penalty 5 meters out from the try line. The Highlanders survive another onslaught from the Western Force. Great stuff from him. Just showing great defense there. Western Force always on the back foot there. The pass is not being solid enough. And that caused them to be a little bit isolated. And Renton gets the penalty for the Highlanders. So the kick finds touch on the 22-meter line. Ash Dixon to throw this in for the Highlanders now. Big throwing coming up for the captain, the co-captain of this Highlanders side. Taken by Frizzell at the back. Now Aaron Smith with the kick over the top. And that's going to find touch roundabout on halfway for a Western Force throwing. We've got 28 minutes left in this game. The Highlanders surviving that Western Force onslaught. And now a great opportunity for them to maybe dominate the rest of this game. Throwing coming from the hooker again. Let's see if he's going to find his jumpers this time around. Nice little throw to Ashby. Now it's taken in by Miotti. Just inside the and half, Kubeli. Out it goes to Tafu. Now there's a chance here on the outside for them. It's Olafella who makes it up to the 10-meter line. Kubeli again. Now taken forward by Tamani. Quick go forward ball needed now. Carl Godwin gives it out to Scott Robinson. Not really gaining any ground from that. Kubeli comes back to Miotti. Now Rob Carney out to Richard Kahui. Just playing level field at the moment, not gaining any ground at all. Now Medrano puts his head down. Kubeli again. Out it goes to Carl Godwin. Now it's taken up by Jeremy Frust. On halfway. Penalty advantage coming now for the Western Force. Taken forward by Scott Robinson, of Tom Robinson. Now Jeremy Frust, out it goes Kahui. There's space here for them, overlap. Miotti, nice little offload, but just couldn't keep hold of it. Was Oliver Feller. And we are going back for that penalty, roundabout on the 10-meter line inside Highlanders half. We've got 26 minutes left in this game. They haven't been able to get over the try line in the second half, both teams. Western Force having the best opportunity in the second half so far. Might have wanted to go and get the points because it would have put them within 7 points. And now they have another chance here, but they do decide to go for touch again and finds touch runabout just inside the 22 of the Highlanders. Josh Hoshnek now also on for the Highlanders. Still haven't seen too many changes or any changes whatsoever from the side of the Western Force. Right, line out to the Western Force. Can they do something with this? Just inside Highlanders territory, or 22. Throw in from Kaitu for the Western Force. Taken beautifully by Jeremy Frost off the back. Here's a chance for Koteka. Koteka still going 5 meters out. Need quick recycle ball now, but it's been slowed down by Frizzell. And he might have won a penalty here for the Highlanders. Great stuff from Shannon Frizzell, stopping them 5 meters out from their own try line. This is now the third time that the Western Force have been unable to score 5 meters out through a penalty awarded to the Highlanders. Unbelievable defense in the end. Koteka breaking through around the back of that lineup, all the way up 5 meters out, and just couldn't release the ball in time, or the support wasn't there for the Western Force. Definitely the better team here in the second half so far, but the Highlanders just eating up the pressure at the moment. Lineout is going to take place just outside the 22 here of the Highlanders now. Thrown in by Coltman, and it's not straight. So it's going to be scrum down to the Western Force. Too many mistakes now from the Highlanders side. Albert Tritter says you have to take your chances to win. And unfortunately, so far, the Western Force have had plenty of those here in the second half and unable to capitalize on that, and have given away 2 penalties 5 meters out. And now they get another chance here just outside the 22 with a scrum feed to the scrum. They need something to spark this game now. 2 missed opportunities at goal, which could have led to a 4-point game. Now still a 10-point game at the moment. Right, scrum feed from Kubeli. Scrum goes down again, and it's going to be a reset. So we've seen a few more in this game than in the other ones. And it's eaten up about 4 minutes of play so far in this game. I wonder how long it's going to take before World Rugby is going to try and implement the stop clock at scrum time. 11J said, I thought Frizzell was injured for the Highlanders. So he is back today playing his first game for the Highlanders, and he's done a really great job so far. Probably one of the standout performances from the Highlanders side in the pack of forwards. Another scrum goes down, and this time it's going to be a penalty to the Highlanders. So things just going from worse to even worse for the Western Force now. They've dominated this opening 15 minutes of the second half, unable to get points on the board, and surely that will have a massive momentum switch for the Highlanders now. You can see the delight on this Highlanders' faces as Mitch Hunt now is going to kick for touch, and he's going to find touch roundabout on the 10-meter line inside Western Force half. So wasted opportunities being the main concern for the Western Force here in the second half. Liam Coltman now with the throw-in for the Highlanders. It's been taken by Buddy Parkinson. Aaron Smith ran straight into the mix of Theo Tompkinson up to the 10-meter line, just bashing it up for Shannon Frizzell. Still going. Now he goes down about 10 meters out from the 22. The Highlanders still very much on the attack. Josh Iwani. Now Aaron Smith back to Buddy Parkinson, gives it out to Hojnek. Aaron Smith again. Now Liam Coltman putting his head down. Still run about 10 meters out. Aaron Smith out to Buddy Parkinson. Just playing with the forwards now is the Highlanders at the moment. Aaron Smith, back it goes to Ethan de Groot. About 5 meters out from the 22. Renton just setting up the face play now as the Highlanders. Comes out to Gregory. Now finds Brian Evans who knocks it on. And it's advantage to the Western Force inside their own 22. Rob Connie, they're going wide now. There's space here for the Western Force. Miotti, but what's the problem now? The referee has stopped play there, and they are going to the TMO for something. So we'll have to wait and see. A real good opportunity there for the Western Force on the counter-attack, but they just stop it. The HBF Stadium in Perth, Barry, is where they're playing at. Home ground of the Western Force. Right, let's see what the problem is here. Just have a look. We'll see if there was maybe a high tackle from, yeah, so it is a high tackle there from the replacement prop forward. I think it's Greg Holmes who could be in trouble here. But what might help him is the fact that Renton did go down. So it shouldn't be too much more than just a penalty. Forearm to the face. But because Renton ducked down, I would say maybe just a penalty against the Western Force now. We'll have to wait and see what the referee, Nick Berry, decides here. But I think worst case scenario might be a yellow card. And then best scenario would just be a penalty against the Western Force. So Greg Holmes barely a couple of minutes onto the field. And he could have problems now. Let's see what... Nick Berry is going to the pocket. So yellow card to Greg Holmes. And the Western Force will now have to play with 14 men for the next 10 minutes. Barry asking how much time on the clock. So we are about... there's about 22 minutes left in this game, Barry. Just waiting to see the stop clock myself. Or on the clock, let's see. They're not showing it, but I think there's around about 22 minutes left. Mitch Hunt now there's 20 minutes left in this game. Mitch Hunt finding touch round about 10 meters out from the Western Force try line, and they will be looking to seal this game off now. 10 minutes in the bin for the Western Force now. Throw in, collected beautifully there at the back by Brian Evans. As they drive their way forward, this maul is looking really good for them. 5 meters out now is the Highlanders. Still going strongly. Controlling it at the back, looking good. Still going forward. About 2 meters out now. Finally goes down. Ball comes back to Aaron Smith. Gives it out to Gregory, who goes over for his second try of the game. And that should be a little bit too much to come back from now. With a man in the bin, they now have conceded another try with 20 minutes to go. Right, let's see if this try is going to be rewarded. They are going to go up to the TMO, I think. But there should be no problem with that. Albert says the fat lady just started singing. Yep. So no problem with that from what I've seen so far. They're just checking maybe for a forward pass from Mitch Hunt to Gregory. But I don't see any problem with that. And that should be, the try should stand. So plenty of replacements have come on for the Highlanders in now. I think it is the likes of Josh Dixon and Jimeno also onto the field for them. So the try has been awarded. Mitch Hunt with another difficult kick. He's already missed 2 vital ones so far today. Let's see if he's going to get this one over again from the corner for the Highlanders. With 18 minutes to go in this game, it should be all done and dusted now. Conversion from Mitch Hunt goes to the left, so it stays 25 points to 10 with 18 minutes to go in the second half. The Highlanders now obviously got their bonus point as well, leading the try score by 4-1. So if that stays the same, they will probably go to the top of the lock, depending on by what margin they win, of course, as well. So the restart from Miotti deep inside the 22, Joshuani giving it up to Tompkinson. Albert says your 15-point win prediction is spot on so far. Yeah, and there's still 18 minutes to go, so it could get even worse for the Western Force. Now Miotti's got it at the back, throws a very poor pass, and goes straight into touch for the Western Force. Line out to the Highlanders on the 10-meter line inside Western Force half. So things are not getting any better for the Western Force now. They're just losing their overall patience in this game now. Right, line-out's been taken, and now the ball's been taken forward by Gregory for the Highlanders. Little chip kick over the top from Aaron Smith, finding space. Nareki after it, but collected well by Rob Carney. About 10 meters out from their own try line. Can they get this ball back? Here's the Western Force. Replacement scrum also onto the field now, as it's Carl Godwin who kicks it. Finds touch, but quickly thrown in. And now Joshuani out to Nareki. Nareki's going to have a run here. Up to the 22-meter line he goes. Aaron Smith controlling it at the back. Gives it up to Joshuani. Hoshnek couldn't keep hold of it. And it is knocked on. Advantage to the Western Force now. Miotti kicks this downfield, finds space. And Gregory goes back for that ball, roundabout on his own 10-meter line. Now Mitch Hunt is going to go to the air. Gregory chasing after this. It is taken in by Miotti for the Western Force on their own 10-meter line. Now the forwards are driving their way up here. It is Andrew Reddy who's on for the Western Force as well. Kicked forward by Carl Godwin, up and under. Chased down, but beautifully collected by Tompkinson there for the Highlanders. Aaron Smith, Joshuani. Over halfway he goes. Aaron Smith comes back now. Hoshnek. Oh, a little bit of obstruction there. Penalty to the Western Force. So a chance now for the Western Force to kick this downfield deep into the Highlanders' half. We've still got 4 minutes on that yellow card, and we've got about 15 minutes left in this game. It's so beautiful when you see the forwards trying to run a backline move and then does it so well that they actually do obstruction in the process. Right, let's see what the Western Force can do from here. They're down and out a little bit at the moment. All that momentum from the first couple of minutes in that second half just going to waste through little knock-ons and penalties given away. Right, Andrew Reddy with a throw in here for the Western Force. Can they do something with this now? The Western Force, it's taken by Tamani. Now off the back, Miotti out to Afua. Now comes back again, still driving with the forwards. Tom Robinson going down. Good counter ruck from the Highlanders, but it does come back to them. Now Miotti to Afua. Tries to straighten the line. Gets held up there well enough by Billy Harmon. Now thrust again to Tamani. They're slowly working their way up at the moment. Miotti, Carl Godwin. About 10 meters out from the 22 now. A knock on from Koteka. Advantage to the Highlanders now. Can they get quick ball back here? Referee blows on his whistle. So Another scrum down to the Highlanders and another wasted opportunity from the Western Force today. 13 minutes to go in this second half. Don't think there's any way back for the Western Force now, as we've got another little small injury attendance at the moment to Jeremy Thrust of the Western Force. Great play from the Highlanders, just sucking up the pressure in the second half. It's been all Western Force in that opening 15 minutes of the second half, but the Highlanders just breaking them bits and pieces after that and scoring that try in the corner by Gregory. There's still about 2 minutes left on the yellow card for the Western Force as well. So with 13 minutes to go, can the Western Force find a way back in this game? Unfortunately, the momentum is with the Highlanders at the moment. Just waiting for the replacements to come on and all the injuries to be attended to. The ball hitting the face of of Koteka. Billy Harmon kicking it straight into the face of Koteka there. And that caused the problems for Koteka, who's receiving attention as well at the moment. Right, we're finally back to the scrum then for the Highlanders. It is going to be their own throw-in on the 10-meter line inside their own half. Cam Hamilton and James Lynch is also on for Billy Harmon as well. And Brainard Stander on for Fergus Lee Warner. And Callan on for Koteka. So plenty of replacements now onto the field for both sides. Kane Hamilton at the back of the scrum. Is it out to Nareki with a bit of space. Puts it to the bird and it chases on now. Rob Carney getting there, but he gets bundled into touch by Nareki. Roundabout on the 10-meter line inside Western Force half. Highlanders just looking to settle this game now. They do have the bonus point at the moment. Another one will just secure that for them. Great tackle from Nareki there on Rob Carney, not giving him any room to move. All the pressure now on the Western Force going into this last 12 minutes of the game. Throw in from Liam Coltman. Good take there from at the back now. Here comes the Highlanders again. Good take up from the forwards there. Just working their way upfield, putting that head down up the 10-meter line. Kane Hamilton, Mitch Hunt gets caught a little bit isolated there, but they do get it back now. Hamilton, out it goes to Oshnek there. And now Kane Hamilton to Liam Coltman. Just working their way up. 5 phases now. Going into the 6th phase. Hamilton still now caught behind the advantage line going forward. Again, just working their way up. Hoshnek again for the Highlanders. Kane Hamilton, Ioane taking it off the feet there. Done well to keep hold of that ball. Still going strongly as the Highlanders. 10 phases, but not making any ground. Now there's a breakaway. Here's a chance, but a forward pass, unfortunately, for the Highlanders. It would have been Josh Ioane in for that try had it not gone forward, unfortunately. So scrum down, basically roundabout on the 22-meter line of the Western Force. No, I'm lying. It's about 10 meters out from the 22 of the Western Force. 10 minutes to go in this game now. Western Force trailing by 15 points at the moment. And more replacements coming on for the Western Force. So probably the whole bench have been cleared now. Reddy, Wagner, Holmes, McCauley, Stander, Pryor, Miyake and Strachan now on for the Western Force. Colton, De Groot, Hoytnek, Dixon, Himeno, and Hamilton, Josh Ioane and Punavai on for the Highlanders. 10 minutes left in this game. What can the Western Force do from here? Taken off the back now. Rob Carney. Out it goes to Richard Cole, who puts it on the boot. There's a little bit of a mix-up there, but Gregory's got it back for the Highlanders on his own 10-meter line. Now Hamilton. He gives it out to Josh Dixon on the 10-meter line. Time left. There's 9 minutes left in this game, Barry. Mioti's got it for the Western Force. Now gives it out to Olafella. Up to the 10-meter line they go. Mioti again. Now Carl Godwin. Back inside it goes to Kahui. Not gaining any ground at the moment is the Western Force as well. Now it's Koteka. Great tackle from Frizzell there. Mioti, there's space. Oh, thumping tackle from Nareki on Olafella. Knocks it on, and now Gregory just bundled into touch, but we're coming back for that knock on from the Western Force. 9 minutes left in this game, and the Highlanders just smothering the Western Force at the moment, not allowing them any space whatsoever to move at. Thumping tackle from Nareki on Olafella. And ball just spilled loose completely there. 8.5 minutes to go. Highlanders leading by 15 points. And it should be no way back for the Western Force now. They need to score 3 times, 2 converted tries, and a penalty to win it. With just 8 minutes, just sounds a little bit impossible at the moment, as we got some more attention now to Brian Evans for the Highlanders. Right, can we see a couple of tries before the end of this game? All the replacements onto the field. Jake Strachan replacing Rob Carney then. And Agnes Warner replacing Tom Robinson. Gallen is on for Koteka as well. 8.5 minutes to go. Scrum down to the Highlanders. Roundabout just inside the half of the Western Force. Mission accomplished here today for the Highlanders so far. Scrum down. Kane Hamilton to Feedy. Spills loose at the back. Now it's Mitch Hunt. Little kick forward, chased here beautifully. Nearly collected by the Highlanders. Kick forward again now at the back. It is Strachan who kicks it out into touch for the Western Force. But there was a little knock on as well. So it might be strummed down to the Highlanders just outside the 22 of the Western Force. Yeah, it was a knock on from Strachan. Nearly Michael Collins getting that ball. And that would have been problems for the Western Force. But anyway, scrum down now to the Highlanders just outside the 22 of the Western Force. And a chance maybe to seal the bonus point. They already have it, but it is nip and tuck at the moment. 4 tries to 1. They can get another one. They'll at least have some kind of leverage going into that last 7 minutes. Right, Kane Hamilton off to Scott Gregory. Now Michand with a long pass out to Nareki. Nareki still going. Still going is Nareki. 5 meters out now. Kane Hamilton gives it up to Billy Harmon, who makes his meters up 2 meters out now. Last chance here, surely to defenders for the Western Force. 1 meter out now is the Highlanders. Kane Hamilton at the back, just controlling the ball. Great defense, not held in the tackle though, and over the try line goes number 20, which is Kazuki Himeno, but a penalty seems to have been awarded to the Western Force. Yeah, he was held in the tackle, stood up again, and gave away the penalty. Was Kazuki Himeno there. You could argue that he was never held in the tackle though, but the referee didn't see it that way. Penalty against the Highlanders with 6 minutes to go in this game. Barry says, I don't think there's any hope for Australian franchises in this competition. That's what I've said from the start, unfortunately, Barry. I thought that the Trans-Tasman were going to get dominated by the New Zealand teams. And so far, we're going to 7 out of 7 for the New Zealand franchises. It is ready with a throw-in to this lineup, taken by the Western Force on the 10-meter line. Now they're working their way through the back, but sloppy play from them. Sees themselves back inside their own 22. Now Olafella taken down just outside the 22 now. Strachan, out it goes to the replacement prop forward. They need to find some magic somewhere down the line as the Western Force. Penalty coming now for them. The Highlanders being offside there with just 5 minutes to go. Surely the only thing that they can do now is prevent the Highlanders from getting a vital bonus point. Ball goes out on the 10 meter, on halfway. So line out to the Western Force on the halfway line. The Western Force have just looked all out of sorts in this last 20 minutes of the game. Ready with the throw-in, taken in. Now they've got some ball going forward. Miotti, out it goes to Tuafua. Knocks, another penalty coming up. I thought he knocked it on, but it has been ripped by the Highlanders player. So another penalty with 4 minutes to go. And they can kick this downfield again. Liam Coltman, the guilty party there for the Highlanders. And James Lenke's now just getting warned by the referee not to give away so many penalties. Last 5 penalties all coming, well, almost coming, the last 4 penalties coming from the Highlanders. So discipline lacking at the moment for them. Albert Ritter says, would love to see a video about the Springboks going on. I would probably do that. I'll have a look at how the Springbok squad would look for this Lions series. Probably as we get closer to that, we will have a look at that as well. So the lineup taken by the Western Force on the 22-meter line. Last chance for them to get a try in this game. Stop just outside the 22 is the Western Force so far. And they're slowly but surely trying to work their way over that. Tafua stopped in midfield by Gregory, who's had a fantastic game for them. Miotti, out it goes to Tamani. They've lost plenty of ground in that movement. Ball spills loose and into the hands of Mitch Hunt. Now maybe a counter-attack opportunity, but a ball spills loose at the back again for Nareki, who finally gets hold of it and then pumps it into touch. Will find touch runabout just outside his own 22. Will we see something from the TMO now? The referee are looking at something at the moment. So let's just see what the call will be for that. Was there a shoulder charge from one of the Western Force players? Yeah, Tafua could be in trouble here, tackling with the shoulder, but the referee says that's fine. So line out to the Western Force just on the 22-meter line. Miotti taken up by the replacement flank forward for the Western Force. Quick ball needed for them now. Over the 22-meter line goes the Western Force. Miotti out to Carl Godwin. Still looking for support though. Now it comes. Slow ball coming out for the Western Force. Oh, Honeck nearly stole that ball on the ground for the Highlanders, but comes back to the Western Force. Tafua, Carl Godwin. Now there's a chance. Kahui switches back inside to Reddy. About 5 meters from the try line now. Here comes Olafella, 2 meters out. 2 meters out is the Western Force now. Can they prevent a try? Oh, there's the try from the Western Force. It is a try to Angus Wagner for the Western Force. And that takes away the bonus point for the Highlanders. 10 points in it with under a minute to go. Well, under 2 minutes to go, though. But great play from both teams in that last facet of play. Great defense from the Highlanders, but the Western Force just kept coming, and they did go over for that try. So with a minute basically left in this game, it is now a conversion attempt from Aotearoa. It's going to hit the upright, so it's not going to go over. 25 points to 15. It is with a minute to go in this game. 10 points the difference between the two at the moment. What a comeback again from the Western Force, just as you think that this game is all but over. So one last kickoff to this game with a minute left in this game now. Restart from Mitch Hunt into the hands of Strachan for the Western Force. Now Carl Godwin ready, having another crack at it. On the 10-meter line inside their own half, the Western Force will have one last dart at it. The Highlanders now need a try to get back the bonus point. Now Strachan again tries to break through. Not going to get it. Now Miotti, out it goes to Tamani. Caught behind the advantage line is the Western Force now. Just outside their own 22. Miotti again, Carl Godwin. Loops around, opens up a bit of space there. Over the 10-meter line they go. Now Miotti again needs support now. Finds Olafella. Good defense from the Highlanders. They're right just outside the, on their own halfway line is the Western Force. Let's see if they can work their way up for another try. The game is over, basically. Just waiting for the ball to go dead. Kahui on their own 10-meter line again. Going backwards is the Western Force. Now taken on by Lee Warner. Yeah, Lee Warner. Now Miotti. Oh, sloppy play there. And there's no knock on. So play on here from the Western Force. Olafella tried to work his way up. Highlanders seems like they've stolen this on the ground. Kane Hamilton. Ball spills loose again. Kick forward by the Western Force up to the 10-meter line. Inside their own half. But a little knock on there. And that is the end of the game. So full time here. It is the Western Force 15. The Highlanders 25. And it was quite the entertaining game. So what this means, the last try by the Western Force means that the Highlanders will not be getting that bonus point. So they will walk away with 4 points from this. And it's one of those things, Western Force taking away the bonus point and preventing them from getting there. So the Hurricanes now leading the Trans-Tasman lock at top, with the Highlanders now in second, but they didn't get that vital bonus point. So yeah, that's the end of this live stream, guys. Don't forget, we are doing the European Challenge Cup final tonight between Leicester Tigers and Montpellier. That should be a really interesting final. They actually dubbed the Montpellier side Bokpellier because there's so many South Africans in that team. So it should be a cracking final, that one. Looking forward to that. Probably Leicester Tigers being the favorites to win that, but never write off Montpellier at all. So we'll see you guys tonight for that. But until then, this is the Rugby Guru. Cheers for now.